but the clock's still ticking. And that automatic stop is coming up. And that TTL field is hidden in your life. You don't know when it decrements to 0. So there's not enough time to try everything. You ask other people what they think, but guess what? By definition, they're not going to care as much about you as you care about you. Even mom, who loves you, who wants you to eat your vegetables, who wants you to telephone her, and hey, call mom today. Everybody should call mom, but even she doesn't be with you 24/7. And so other people care about you. So you can read books, take quizzes, wait for some divine inspiration, but there's one key question that it all comes down to, and if there's one thing you write down on the corner of your program or whatever, is this. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Now, I borrowed that from Robert Schuller. But that was a question that he's asked for years and years. If you knew absolutely that something wouldn't fail, God himself came down and said, tell me what your wish is, I will make it happen. You want to think very carefully about that, right? Because you only get one shot at it. What would you do if you had, well, I want to make $1 million? Well, that's having $1 million. What would you do? Oh, I would build a software company doing a certain type of DNS tunneling capability that people could use when they go to hotels so they don't have to pay $9.95 for internet, and I'll make it available for 95 cents and also make $1 million. All right, I just gave away somebody's business plan. But that's very specific now, isn't it? But if you absolutely knew you couldn't fail, because what keeps you from trying this stuff? If you got something that you want to do in your life, if you've figured out your purpose, if you got your goals and your visions, if you don't look at your life, it's not worth living, right? We got to ask these questions, what do I want to do? Because if you don't know your purpose, you got to beware of BSOS. Have you ever heard of that? Bright, shiny object syndrome. Because you will get distracted. You'll lose focus. You'll waste time. Hey, here's a job. Wow, look, it pays $150. I'll take that. Well, wait, look over here. And off you find out, grabbing all these bright, shiny objects, and meanwhile, you totally take your eye off the goal. And even if they pay well, you know, the story is that's how you'll take a primate like a monkey, and you'll take a jar or something that's not going to be movable, put some figs in there, or a banana. Monkey go in there, put their hand in there, can't get their fist out of the neck. We'll sit there and not let go while you come over there and capture it, put a bag on it, and haul it off to the zoo or a dinner table, depending on what your purpose is. But some people don't let go of things because they're so focused on that bright, shiny object, they forget that the imperative is get away from the hunter. So if you want to defend yourself against the bright, shiny objects, you absolutely got to know who you are and what your purpose is. And once you know who you are and what your purpose is, it's a whole lot easier to just say no. Thank you very much for asking me, and I hope you have a great time, but I'm not coming with you. Thanks for the opportunity, and I'm going to be doing something else. Notice there's not the button there, and. Because your purpose becomes a litmus test for the things that is presented to you in life. If it supports your purpose, do it. If it doesn't, don't do it, unless you need it for recreation, okay? It's okay to take a break once in a while. Just don't get so mired up in first-person shooter games you never come out of the basement for months. So my challenge to you is go find your purpose in life. Each of you ought to know what that is. And chances are none of you, or very, very few of you, have a very solid grip on it right now. And it's tough, and it's a personal question. And because we don't get the answer right, we get real embarrassed about wanting to talk about it. But knowing your purpose ignites your passion. If you ever heard or seen anything with Tony Robbins, and he's taller than I am, he's 6'6". He says the emotions are the most important thing you need to make change in your life because you can't left brain change. I'm a left brain guy. Hey, my hero is Mr. Spock growing up, okay? Everything has to be logical. But you can't make change that way because that's not how we're wired. Because if it were, none of us would smoke, none of us would drink too much, all of us would obey the law, all of it. Anyway, but that's not how we operate. We operate on feelings. And for those of us who, like most men, tend not to emphasize your feelings, you suppress them, you'll lose the leverage to be able to change your life very effectively. And that's the tool that you need. And so a lot of people need to get to a crisis. Somebody dies or you get cancer and you survive it and all of a sudden you start running and you stop smoking and you start doing healthy things. But let's avoid the crisis. Let's see if we can go right to doing the change. All right, what are we going to change? Change your job? You love your job? These days, everybody thinks it's still pretty good to have one, right? Love your relationship? Absolutely perfect. If you had a do-over, would you be where you are now? Don't want to answer it out loud, particularly if your other person's with you. Want to change your life? Are you completely satisfied with where you are today? And have you achieved all your life goals? And really, do you even have a list of your life goals? And have you even kind of thought what they might be? Because otherwise, your life's just like a pinball game, right? Bouncing around. Oh, bright, shiny object. Oh, here's another opportunity over there. Well, that looks cool. That looks interesting. And we end up just going all over the place. And it's fun. We can make a lot of money doing that because other people are paying us to do something they want us to do. But ideally, you'd like to go ahead and aim for something and keep hitting it over and over again. It's great if you're a one-hit wonder. But it's even better if you can repeatedly deliver time and time again on your goals, on your focus, because that's where true success comes in life. So what have you been programmed to believe? A lot of false beliefs in your mind. Oh, I'm not attractive. I'm not worth a whole lot of money. I'm fat, stupid, not going to be a success. Parents tell you this, friends tell you this, teachers tell you this, your buddies tell you this, or whatever, and that becomes our self-image. And it's from the external sources, and it's not valid. But we believe it just as if it is true. Because everybody knew absolutely for certain that the earth was flat for centuries. And you get burned at the stake, or worse, if you had heresy. They said it wasn't true. But they're programmed into your subconscious mind. And they're embedded down in there, but they're not in the kernel. You've got to change the software. So if we look at it, it's time for an upgrade. We work with computers in this business. We have the analogy here for us. Okay? Where do we make the change? You can't get a new you, all right? Your factory issue, that's it. Can you get a new brain? No. You can kill off some of the brain cells with alcohol, but you still got the same brain. So we really got to focus on the software. What we believe, what are habits, what are we doing on a regular basis? Because you're a prisoner. Anybody remember the prisoner from? By hook or by crook, we will. Somebody else understands the old classic. I actually had a prisoner slide in here and I pulled it out because I didn't think anybody else would get it, so congratulations. Your beliefs, your habits, these things drive almost all of your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors. It's a filter. It is a preprocessor that says, oh, okay, this is what I'm looking for. It's not a black Mercedes, so I'm not going to pay attention to it. Oh, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm stupid, I can't make $1 million, and so you believe it. And everything that comes along that proves to you that you can't do it, you go, yeah, got it, I believe it. Because all these thoughts and feelings, behaviors drive your results, and they drive your achievements. So if you want different results, you got to change your belief system. You've got to believe something different. Now, if you look at all the self-help books out there, all of the, I'm going to change this, all the speakers, the seminars, the programs, the stuff that you can buy and spend lots of money on, they all go back to one root document. The source code for all of this is from this guy right here. Anybody know who that is? Nobody? Let me introduce you to Napoleon Hill. In 1937, at the depths of the Depression, he wrote Think and Grow Rich. And that book was the result of having talked to Andrew Carnegie, the most wealthy man in the world. Today, he would be about Bill Gates, plus Warren Buffett, plus you combined. Maybe all of us combined. And he said, how'd you do it? And he said, I'll introduce you to the 100 wealthiest people in the world, but you've got to tell me that you will take the time to figure it out and follow it. And he spent 20 years with this letter of introduction. You're like, would you talk to me? Yeah, if you had Bill Gates and Warren Buffett sign a letter personally and you went in to go see somebody like Donald Trump, and that would get you past the secretary, wouldn't it? And so he spent all that time and he found out that all these people had very common things. Anybody read his book? We haven't heard the guy. Okay, we got a couple people who read the book. How many times you read the book? Once. Okay. He's like 5, or are you in? 20 years. Or just waving. Okay. He's like, you got 5 minutes left. This is a document that you can't just read once and say, I got it. Okay. This is something you consult and you go back and forth and over, and it's an engine for success. But all the engines are going to need is some fuel. And what I find is a lot of people read the book and they go, well, that's pretty cool. I'm all psyched up and this is awesome and I'm going to go change my life and everything's going to be great. And you come back 6 months later and they're right back where they were because you never got going. Because you could have a $300,000 Enzo Ferrari and it's just a piece of junk if you don't have $3 worth of gas to make it move. I'm not going to go into the details here, but I'll show you how to get these at the end of my talk. But desire, faith, he has figured out that these very successful people all had very similar characteristics. Whether they learned them, whether they intuitively did it, they all did these exact same things. He said, this is how people think and grow rich, by doing this process. And you too can repeat the exact same process. Success leaves clues. But in his book, he talks about a secret. So if you read it, did you figure out the secret? Because he doesn't say what the secret is in his book. Persistence. Because the fuel for the engine, you got to have definitive purpose. You can be persistent. You can be a persistent idiot. It really helps to be persistent and know what you're going for. Definitely know what you want. Persistence, a burning desire, and that becomes success. And you commit your goals to writing, and all of a sudden, they go from your mind into the tangible. Just the kinesthetic act of writing down something. By December 2012, I will attend the ToorCon end of the world trip in Antarctica. If you write that down, it is orders of magnitude better than if you just think it, no matter how many times you think about it. And you absolutely need to know what you're looking for, because Napoleon Hill says whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But I say there's even more important secret. This is not in the book. But if you follow the book, you figure out the secret. And it's one of those hidden values that unless you do it, you can't figure it out. But you have to take decisive action, as he said, persistence, never give up. Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president, one of the best quotes I ever heard, it says, nothing takes the place of persistence. We've got unsuccessful people with talent and genius that doesn't go anywhere, and educated derelicts. It's persistence that keeps you going. My dog teaches me this every time he wants to go out, and I'm still working. You know what? Dog gets to go out because he just keeps, all right, there, go. I got to get back to work. How come that little dog can trump me? Because he's got persistence. So we can learn that. So if success is so straightforward, how come there's so many unsuccessful people in life, right? I mean, this is easy. Just follow the formula. Because your biggest opponent is fear, which is an emotional response to a perceived threat. And I emphasize perceived, because there are some healthy fears. You open the door, you see that waiting for you, slam the door. Go out and buy some roses, try again. Hello, honey. Okay. I'm gonna pay for that one. Pay for that one too. Because a lot of people have fear of commitment. Right? And I'm not going to get tangled up in one of those things. Some of those are good fears. And what they do is they put your animal brain, your lower brain, the lizard brain, if you will, if you look at the structures there that's very similar, into a fight or flight mode. And this takes place instantaneously. It's designed to keep you alive. But in today's society, how often is your life actually threatened? Not too often. It takes about 8 seconds for you to override that high priority interrupt. Otherwise, it dictates who you are. And the more you spend in that lower brain, the more automatic it becomes. Marketers know this. You've got to have the latest this. You must buy this. You're ugly without this makeup. You're no good without this car. And we turn that into an animalistic, got to have it, must live, must have it, go shop. Marketers get that. They bypass the higher brain. They go right to the lower brain. It keeps you from living at your highest level. So you got to confront your fears head on. But you got to know what they are. Because if the life and death fears, because we fear, I can't start a business, I can't go ahead and take off. Why? Because I don't know how. Well, go learn it. Man, I got to know what to do. I can't do that. Lack confidence. A lot of times, most of the fear is lack of trust. Remember that? Do you trust me? Well, do you? So you have to take calculated risks.